Hello, this is Eric Atwell. I'm a professor of artificial intelligence for language at Leeds University, and I'm going to be giving you a presentation for the Arabic Linguistics Forum. To do this, I'm going to have to share my screen and see if this works. So the first thing I'm going to do is to open my presentation, and now hopefully you can see my presentation on social media language resources for Arabic dialect research and evaluation. Social media language resources for Arabic dialect research and evaluation. I have co-presenters who are not here: Areej, Alshutayri, Taghreed, Tarmom, and Maab, Ibrahim. I'll introduce them later. So Arabic dialectology has traditionally focused on listening to informants and audio recordings of dialect speakers as sources of evidence. This is because primarily linguists are interested in the sounds or phonetics of language, so they can document and preserve the phonetics of a dialect, the sounds of a dialect, just like a museum exhibition for linguists to study later. I and others, on the other hand, are interested in the meanings and uses of words and multi-word expressions in a dialect, how they differ from dialect to dialect and from the standard language. And I also want to promote the use of a dialect rather than just preserve it, advocate its use in language technology, in computer interfaces like Alexa, or in web search tools like Google, or even in word processing tools like Microsoft Word. They should be allowed to use dialects rather than just the standard language. Now, there are, within artificial intelligence and natural language processing, methods and tools and software to analyze the meanings of words and multi-word expressions. I can't go into these now, but we have examples like Sketch Engine or word embedding tools like Word2Vec. These capture the meanings so that you can do processing of them. But these require a corpus or a large sample of dialect use. And to build a model of meanings and uses of each word, we need to have many examples of the word in the context that it appears. So as a minimal example, if you want to have a model of the top 1,000 words, most frequent words in the language or dialect, then you may on average want to have 1,000 examples of each word in context. And if you want 1,000 words and 1,000 examples of each, that's 1,000,000 word corpus you need. Even if you don't regard the variability in frequency, that's an average. So early dialectology research for English, people collected 1,000,000 word corpora, for example, the Brown corpus of American English, or the Lobb, Lancaster, Oslo, Bergen corpus of British English, and then on to the 1,000,000 word International Corpus of English projects for New Zealand and Hong Kong and other dialects. But for meanings and uses of rare words and multi-word expressions in a dialect, you need much bigger samples. So for example, the British National Corpus is 100 million words. And Sketch Engine has collected from the web scraping 1010 corpora, that's 10 to the power of 10, or 10 billion words. For example, R1010 is 10 billion words of Arabic scraped from the web. How can a linguist listening to audio recordings build 1,000,000 word corpus? That's not reasonable. The way to do this, as found in Lobb, ICE, and the examples I've just spoken about, are to collect written text rather than audio recordings. Arabic dialect speakers, however, are taught to write in modern standard Arabic in schools. So there's actually very little dialect text until recently. However, now, young people are using social media like Twitter and Facebook in their dialects. and this offers a new data source for Arabic dialectology, and also for development of computing tools, natural language processing tools, which can cope with Arabic dialects. So artificial intelligence researchers have developed tools to scrape or harvest a corpus from the web or from social media. Now, perhaps I should give us some background on the authors of this paper. So I'm Eric Atwell. I'm a professor of artificial intelligence for language. I'm not a linguist or a dialectologist, but have been involved in collecting English dialect corpora, such as the Lancaster-Oslo-Burton corpus of British English, or the ICE International Corpus of English for other English dialects, and also collected several Arabic corpora, including some specialist and dialect corpora. And this is used for research on meanings of words or multi-word expressions. You can construct a corpus-informed list of Arabic formulaic sequences if you have a corpus. Areej Alshutayri is an assistant professor in computer science and artificial intelligence. She also is not a linguist, but she's did a PhD project at Leeds University, developing software and collecting a corpus of social media Arabic dialect from a number of different dialects, using Twitter, Facebook, and also on online newspapers. People would comment on the posts in their dialect. Taghreed is a current PhD student in the School of Computing at Leeds University. Again, she's not a dialectologist, but her research is in machine learning and data mining for classifying Arabic texts, comparing traditional machine learning methods with compression-based approaches for text classification. So she developed a Facebook scraper program to scrape Facebook and collect a corpus of Arabic text, which also includes not just dialect, but also code switching between different dialects and non-dialect. Maab Ibrahim, she's a data scientist intern at the Leeds Institute for Data Analytics at Leeds University, and she's been involved in various text mining and data mining projects. For her MSc at Leeds University, she developed software to collect and then to classify multiple dialects of Arabic from Twitter sources. So, why should we use social media for dialectology? Why did we do this? Well, there are various advantages. Big thing is it's quite easy and cheap to collect large amounts of unscripted, spontaneous, informal dialect data. You can collect millions of words of text scraped from Twitter and Facebook and so on. And there's no need to spend time transcribing the audio file. The data is already text, which means you can collect not just dialect in general, but you can collect comparable samples from a range of different dialects. So you can compare the language, the words and multi-word expressions between different dialects and between the dialects and modern standard Arabic. And a great advantage of this new method is that research on the dialects is attracting interest from computing researchers in academia and in industry. And they have lots of funding and resources for Arabic dialect collection, which you might as well use if you're a dialectologist. You can directly apply these sort of machine learning and data mining methods to large dialect corpora just as easily as you can to non-dialect corpora. So you can automatically learn linguistic patterns and insights, and there's growing research in dialect classification recognition. There are some disadvantages. Obviously, if you're only interested in the phonetics and phonology of a dialect, then maybe these resources aren't that good for you. And there's also a problem that because there's no standard way of writing a dialect in Arabic, everybody writes in modern standard Arabic, then there can be variation in spelling. So there are developed tools for standardizing the spelling. And further disadvantages that the tweets or the social media posts can include things which aren't straightforwardly dialect. Obviously, if you're taught to write in modern standard Arabic, then when you're tweeting, you may mix up modern standard Arabic and dialect, so there'll be code switching between the two. And there may even be English or French or other languages stuck in your tweets, or emojis or web addresses or other computing terms. And it'd be quite difficult to identify code switching, to know which bits of a tweet or a longer Facebook post are dialect and which are modern standard Arabic. So this is why there's research on identifying dialect, not just a whole tweet as being of a dialect, but which bits of a tweet are of a dialect. It's quite challenging to identify a tweet as definitely being from a dialect. If you want to collect a corpus of Sudanese dialect, for example, then how do you know the tweets that you collect actually are Sudanese? Well, one way, this is what Maab Ibrahim did, for example, is to first of all collect a seed list of words. So using various academic sources, get a list of Sudanese words which are only used in Sudanese Arabic, and do the same for other dialects. And then collect tweets which only have one or more of these dialect words. If a tweet contains a Sudanese Arabic word in it, then you can assume the whole tweet is Sudanese Arabic. But this leaves out lots of tweets which don't happen to have those words in, even though they are dialect. And you end up with a corpus where word frequencies are skewed towards seed words. So another strategy that Maab Ibrahim tried was to collect tweets from specific locations. For example, for Sudanese Arabic, from Khartoum, and then you can assume that the tweets from Khartoum are Sudanese Arabic, even if they don't contain the seed words. However, there are visitors to places who may be tweeting without using the dialect. For example, not all tweets in Riyadh are Najdi Arabic speakers. And it also leaves out tweets from outside the main population centres and the diaspora and the people who are not living there anymore, dialect speakers who've left home. There are Sudanese Arabic speakers in Leeds, for example, and they may be tweeting in dialect, but we won't capture them this way. So a solution in AI is to use an ensemble. An ensemble is a combination of different methods, and that way you capture the best of all the worlds, hopefully. So the conclusion is, social media is a big source of big corpus data for Arabic dialect research. But not just, it's actually being collected for Arabic dialect language resources, so that people like Google are interested in Arabic dialect web search. Microsoft are interested in Arabic dialect word processors. Other tools like Alexa have to be adapted to Arabic dialects, and they need Arabic dialect resources for those. So there's a huge interest in computing and IT industry in resources which could be used by Arabic dialectologists if they wanted to. So if you're interested in using our Arabic dialect social media resources, then get in touch. However, if you have an academic interest in phonetics, that's fine. Keep your academic interest, but watch out for future work, because there are spoken recordings in YouTube and other websites, and the next step may well be to scrape YouTube for spoken dialect data, including automatic transcription of the data. Okay, that's all I want to say for now. Thank you for listening, and if you're interested in this, get in touch, and if you're interested in this, come along to the discussion session afterwards and ask us questions. We really hope that social media are a good source for Arabic dialect research. Whether or not you're interested is up to you. Thank you for listening.